Dear colleagues and friends, welcome warmly to this WCEF session on measuring the performance of eco-industrial parks. Great to notice that so many of you from so many countries are joining today despite obvious challenges with time zones for many of you. My name is Jukka Teräs. I represent the company Norum and I'm part of the organizing team coordinated by Circular Economy Center in Kemi in North Finland. And I shall be moderating this session in cooperation with Sanna Tyni from Lapland University of Applied Sciences. And before we start the session, I just remind you of following and using the chat throughout the session. The idea of this entire session is co-creation. Your ideas and opinions are welcome. But let's go now to the agenda of today. What is this session about? We focus on sharing experiences on measuring the industrial circular economy. And we provide introduction, but also guidelines to measuring eco-industrial parks. Our experiences come not only from Finnish, Nordic and Europe, but also from global experiences, as you notice later on in this program. And we hope that this session really acts as a kickoff for an international process to upgrade the knowledge on measuring eco-industrial parks. You see the map now on the screen, and it's the map of Finland, and you see also map of Europe with Finland there at the northernmost part of Europe. And I can just inform you that 2 days ago we got first snow, so we are really having Arctic conditions already in the northernmost part of Finland, but now are we located at the Helsinki studio. And I will now present the theme of this session. We have first we have two representatives from Digipolis Kemi, the technology park behind the Circular Economy Center, Director Tuomas Pussila and Soile Suvanto, the communication specialist. From Sitra, the Finnish Innovation Fund, we have Nani Pajunen, the leading specialist. From UNIDO, we have Klaus Türkkö, Chief Technical Advisor at Global Eco-Industrial Parks Program. From Canada, we have Timo Mäkinen, Director of Operations from NISP Canada, Lighthouse Sustainability Society from Vancouver. From Sweden, we have Murat Mirata, Senior Lecturer from University of Linköping. And I represent the Norum Oy as well as Eva Turunen, also joining this first part of this session. We also have the privilege of having Metsä Group represented here by the Vice President Maija Pohjakallio, VP Climate and Circular Economy. And we have as co-moderator, we have Sanna Tyni, Principal Lecturer and Circular Economy Specialist, Lapland University of Applied Sciences. We also have many enablers, starting from Regional Council of Lapland, coming to Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment in Finland and many other ministries. So there are lots of institutions behind. But this show is, as a group work, it consists of tens of experts. And agenda in brief. First we have a brief introduction. What are we talking about when we talk about eco-industrial parks? Thereafter, we have a brief look on guidebook on eco-industrial parks and policy brief that is now out for this theme. After that, we will have a case Metsä Group from North Finland on circular economy, followed by panel and interactive session. As said, we want this to be a co-creative session, and then we conclude, and we finish the session by 9:45. And we will have, as the next theme in this program, we have an introduction of eco-industrial parks by Tuomas Pussila, Director of Circular Economy Center. But before we invite Tuomas in, we will have a short video starting now.
Hello everybody and greetings from Metsä. When in operation, the
Circular Economy Center for better business. There's more to northern Finland than beautiful wilderness, abundant natural resources, and the world's cleanest air. Here, the passionate experts of the Circular Economy Center have worked since 2012 to demonstrate industrial circular economy in action. We help industrial operators to redesign their material loops, build pilot projects, seek financing, and scale operations by bringing together great minds and know-how. And it's not just talk. With our support, our partners have repurposed industrial side streams as a side rock pile covering material for the mining industry, the first bike path of its kind in Europe, and even a profitable water cleaning method out of shrimp shells. We're always open to cooperation, which shows in our international achievements and national role as the coordinator of Finland's eco-industrial park network. We're respected pioneers in making better business for the whole world. Get in touch.
And now it's time to welcome Tuomas Pussila, the director of the Circular Economy Center, to give an introduction. Please, Tuomas.
Thank you, Jukka. Hello world. My name is Tuomas Pussila and I'm working as a director of Circular Economy Center. I'm very pleased to have all you here in this session, and hopefully you will get your impact and your comments to the work what we have done, and hopefully this is a great start of our journey together. But I'm also pleased to tell you that this video what you just saw, it was the world premiere, so hopefully you'll like it a lot. So some words about our Circular Economy Center, and as you maybe saw on the video, we are a great pioneer of industrial circular economy. Companies and authorities, they really trust on us, and they have shown that we have a capability to make things happen and work as a playmaker. We do have a great connections, not only in Finland or in Scandinavia. We are working as a leader in the EU levels alliance with focus on the industrial circular economy investments. So we are a strong player on the field of industrial circular economy, I must say. And what kind of experience do we have in Kemi-Tornio region? We have a long history, of course, but why we do have a long history is the type of the hub where we are living. 8% of the Finland's total value of export is made on that region. We do have pulp and paper mills, bioproduct mills, mines, steel factories, etc., etc. The industrial and also the economical potential is huge. And it will be, and it's based more or less on the industrial circular economy. A great example is that Metsä Group will investment for the new bioproduct mill in our town. The worth of the investment will be 1.6 billion euros, and then you will hear more about that. And how we see the circular economy, it's not only waste or side streams. It can be a know-how or engineering, what the companies can sell. It can be a very high value products. It can be a way of using less natural resources by digitalization or by automation. So I must say, and to be honest, that Kemi-Tornio region and Circular Economy Center offers a great place to study these items. And there are success stories to tell about now and even more in the future. Then some words about the eco-industrial parks and the nationwide network of eco-industrial parks that we are leading. This network, it offers a great outlook to the entire circular economy in Finland for companies and for authorities by one look. The network consists of the regional pioneers And of course, the type of the parks and companies inside the parks varies from place to place, but we see that as a good point. It's not a disadvantage, and it's on the opposite way. And the networks is a great place to exchange the best practices, and then also to monitor how the development is going on in Finland. The topic of today is measuring, so that's one hint also for your countries to establish that kind of network. And once again, what are the main advantages? Of course, when we are speaking about the network, there is a power to make things happen. When we are speaking with the 14 parks, as we do have in our network, we are speaking with the voice of industry, with the voice of heavy industry, or with the voice of startup companies. Of course, when you all know that when there are people around the table, fresh and new ideas will come up for sure. And I must say that this openness and trust to each other, it's something unbelievable what do we have in our network. We are really open, and it's very easy to communicate between the parks and share the best practices. So together we are stronger, I must say. And think about that. We are speaking about the 14 parks in our case, and that really offers a unique and open way, one-stop shop for the financing people, for example, to get the real investments from the parks. It gives a really good test bed for the authorities to test how the legislation will work, and also for the public sector. Is there some changes or needs? What should be done for example, different kind of support tools? So I really see that this network is working. Of course, it has just started. We still have work to do, and of course, it's not ready-made, but I really see it as a great tool to get things done. And Jukka already showed the map where the Finland is, and I'm quite sure that we have representatives over 50 countries in this session, so you don't know very well Finnish geography, Finland's geography. But what this map shows is that we do have parks all over Finland. The whole country is covered with the eco-industrial parks, and what is interesting is that this is not only the big cities or capitals of the which are in this map. Finnish capital actually is missing from this map, and small towns from the rural areas, old industrial towns are in this network. We do have eco-industrial parks with the different kind of profiles. For example, Kemi-Tornio region, there is a great bioproduct profile. For example, in Kokkola, there is a strong chemical industry. In Turku region, it's very much startup, high-tech wise park. And the type of parks, it varies from each other. But as I mentioned earlier, this is not a disadvantage. This is opportunity to us to learn from each other and also make things happen, as it was mentioned earlier already. And of course, network is never ready-made, so hopefully we will get the new partners in, and one idea of this session is also to tell what we are doing here in Finland, and hopefully you will learn of this session, and maybe you get an idea to open your own eco-industrial park also in your country. And I hope that during this session you will get out more about that stuff. And I think my time seems to be rather much used, so I really like to thank you, and hopefully we will stay tuned, and of course whenever you feel so, please free to get a connection and call me and ask more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuomas. What a great opening video also, so great presentation. And Tuomas joins us later for the panel, but now we move on to the next stage, which will be given by Nani Pajunen, Sitra. Nani will guide us to guidebook on eco-innovation parks. Please, Nani.
Thank you, Jukka, and thank you, Tuomas. Hello, it's so great to be here with you today. And it's my pleasure to tell a little bit about Circular Economy Center and then about the guidebook. Like Tuomas told you, we are a network. We are collaborating not only in national level, but Nordic level and EU level and global level. UNIDO is one of our key partners, and I'm so happy that we have also academy sector like Murat today, and then now we are so happy that Timo is joining also to our network, and we are really welcoming you all to join this industrial circular economy network. So Circular Economy Center, we try to help industrial sectors to promote circular economy business models. We try to help them to develop new kind of solutions, how to use natural resources more efficient way and use energy less and so on. Many kind of different solutions need to be developed in the future also. So research collaboration, it's really important part of the work of the center. Then we really are open-minded. If you have any kind of challenges in industrial circular economy, please contact us, because we have noticed that really good way is when we notice that there is a challenge, we try to find solution. And one thing was that when we started to work in eco-industrial park center and name, we called this eco-industrial park, there was a question, what does it mean? What about if I want to start this kind of eco-industrial park, what shall I do? So then we invited experts, not only us who are here today, but experts from the different areas, industrial areas of Finland, Finnish network, and we started to work together. So what does it mean, and what shall we do if I want to create an eco-industrial park? So create a vision and plan, and set clear targets for you and your team. Choose a good leader. This is collaboration. No one can do this by yourself. We need a good collaboration. You need a team. Think really carefully what kind of business models you are going to have in your eco-industrial park. Then you need to take care of your network. You have one network inside your eco-industrial park, but then you have partners, suppliers, subcontractors. Please take care of them as well. Communicate and train. You need education. You need to educate the people inside your eco-industrial park and outside, your partners and suppliers. Grow and develop. We are not ready yet. We need to develop, we need to learn by doing. We need to learn a lot and develop new kind of solutions. And we need to have trust, because in one eco-industrial park area, there are many kind of companies, many kind of peoples, but we need to trust that we have a common target. We want to create carbon neutral circular economy society. And remember, when you success, celebrate. Be happy when you have really good results. Thank you.
Thank you, Nani. I really liked the last one also. We should also remember to celebrate the success. And the link to the guidebook, please follow the chat. I think there is the link if you are interested in these 9 steps. And now we move on and we will introduce another fresh report, that is the policy brief on measurement of eco-industrial parks by Eeva Turunen. Eeva, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jukka. Hi, everyone. I will tell you shortly about our recently published policy brief on measuring industrial circular economy. The policy brief introduces good practice examples of measuring the industrial circular economy in eco-industrial parks, which are business platform with long-term goals that are in line with sustainable development. The policy brief is a result of this network Thomas and Nani was talking about. It's a result of this network cooperation in Finland that aims to share the knowledge and enhance the mutual learning in eco-industrial parks of Finland. The policy brief is also a compiled summary of 7 interviews with experts from Finland, Nordic countries, Canada, and from United Nations Industrial Development Organization. It introduces national as well as local perspectives on developing the sustainable performance in eco-industrial parks. You can access the publication by the link posted in the chat or later through our presentation slides. So why measuring industrial circular economy? Simply, in order to understand the sustainable performance of eco-industrial parks, it is necessary to find suitable indicators to describe the pace and the phase of transition towards more extensive circular economy solutions. Also, climate change requires carbon neutral solutions throughout society, and eco-industrial parks strive to tackle the international sustainability challenge through the concept. So the concept of eco-industrial parks itself is one of industry's input to diminish carbon emissions and to mitigate the effects of climate change. Although this requires strategic actions like well-established measuring and monitoring systems. Here you can see the same map shown here before. You can see that there is like 14 different eco-industrial logo of 14 different eco-industrial parks in Finland, and it's a picture of this Finnish network that works as a test bed for measuring industrial circular economy. The network provides excellent platform for sharing knowledge, learning from others, as well as business-to-business dialogue about industrial circular economy. In the end of our policy brief, we gave 8 recommendations on how to measure the performance of eco-industrial parks and what aspects needs to be taken into account when developing the monitoring mechanisms of eco-industrial parks. And here are the 3 most important ones that stood up already clearly while the data collection. The first one is to start the measurement work without further delay, because the best way to learn about appropriate monitoring mechanism is by learning and doing and by trial and error. The second one is both quantitative and qualitative indicators are needed. And here I could add that especially in the beginning phase of eco-industrial parks, the qualitative measures are important in order to understand people's attitudes and perceptions of common terms of circular economy. And the third point is to integrate the measuring process into the existing industrial process, as this can save resources and costs. And this could be, for example, starting to build up the monitoring mechanism into environmental or building permits that are already existing practices in most of the countries. As conclusions, I could say that the policy brief describes and summarizes the next topics our panelists are gonna discuss here today. Thank you for my part, and I hope you enjoy the discussions.
Thank you so much, Eva. And I think it's great to have the policy brief out, and good news for our Finnish colleagues. It's also out in Finnish if you wish. But now let's move on and virtually visit the Metsä Group and their huge investment in North Finland to build a bioproduct mill. And the massive project with elements of circular economy will be introduced by video by Maija Pohjakallio, Vice President Climate and Circular Economy at Metsä Group.
Hello everybody, and greetings from Metsä. When in operation, the Kemi bioproduct mill will increase the amount of Finnish exports by about €500 million annually. And the Kemi bioproduct mill will produce about 1.5 million tons of pulp, plus other bioproducts as well, every year. And what is remarkable, it will do this without using any fossil fuels. Actually, the Kemi bioproduct mill will produce renewable energy, a huge amount annually. The annual amount is enough to heat up around 100,000 single houses in Finland. And it's really nice to imagine that it's also been estimated that during the construction phase, 15,000 individuals will actually work on the Kemi area.
This investment is very important to Finland in many ways, but we look at circular economy. How does the new factory work from that point?
Metsä Fibre will utilize its unique bioproduct mill concept. And the concept is based on ecosystem model. So the main product of the ecosystem will be pulp, which can then be further refined into, for example, cardboard, carboxymethyl cellulose, or in future even into textiles and other new products. Other products in addition to pulp include, for example, tall oil, which can be refined into very valuable chemicals, some of which can even be used in poultry feed, in which they function as antimicrobial agents. Very interesting example of a circular model is how in the new bioproduct mill, sulfur dioxide emissions will be captured and utilized as raw material to produce sulfuric acid. And then the sulfuric acid will be used within the mill concept. So the mill doesn't have to purchase any sulfuric acid from external sources, which of course will produce both economic and environmental benefits. The whole ecosystem will boost collaboration between different companies. It will enable new innovations by Metsä Group, Metsä Fibre, and also other companies working in the same ecosystem. One very important principle of circular economy is regenerating natural systems. And we at Metsä Group and Metsä Fibre, we only purchase forest and wood from sustainably managed forests. So it's very important for us that the wood we purchase, we know its origin and we know that the forest is taken care of.
Why do you think this huge investment is so important? When do you think the whole industrial circular economy?
We at Metsä Group, we really want to promote a sustainable future which enables a good life also for the next generations. And in order to tackle the great challenges, climate change, plastic waste challenges, biodiversity loss, we need to invest in producing products in a new way and also in finding new consumption models. It's of crucial importance that new investments are made by industry and on industrial scales to produce more sustainable consumer goods. To name two things which are very important, according to my thinking, to boost sustainable future and circular economy, or that we need to phase out the use of virgin fossil carbon. Material sector cannot be decarbonized as energy sector, but we can use carbon in a more sustainable way. For example, we can use renewable carbon instead of fossil carbon. Then another very important thing and aspect is collaboration. We need to collaborate more to make more out of less. And Kemi bioproduct mill will really be a huge platform for ecosystem building, for new innovations, for new kind of collaboration, for a more sustainable future.
I hope you enjoyed the video, and it is the largest investment ever by Finnish forest industry sector in Finland. And please feel free to visit the construction site by webcam. I'm sure you will see some snow in the next coming weeks at the site too. And now we take a move towards the interactive session, and it includes both panel and then we ask you also to contribute. And first of all, I will shortly introduce the panelists, which are Nani Pajunen. Nani already gave the presentation. Klaus Türkö, UNIDO, soon giving a presentation and comments. Timo Mäkinen, joining by distance there. Good morning, Timo. Great to see you. I know it's not too late in the morning. And we have Murat Mirata from Sweden. Welcome, Murat. And then we have Tuomas already presenting today. And I will moderate the panel, and the chat moderator Sanna Tyni will also join us for this session. But now, before we go to the panel questions, we have prepared introduction for you, questions 1 and 2, which we go through by using the Mentimeter. And I think it is a technology which it's easy enough, so if you have not used, it's not a problem at all. And now we go into the Mentimeter questions. And the instructions in short, just use your mobile phone, or if you wish, you just use your PC, and you write there in your browser www.menti.com. And when you are in, you just use the code which is on the screen, 6304-2606, and just follow the example. The first response is coming there. Just write your country and submit, and we will see where are you from in this session. And we seem to get a lot of responses, which is fine. And we also can tell that the bigger the characters, the more participants we have from that country. But the picture is taking form nicely at the moment. Just keep on giving the replies there. So great to see you all from the far countries also joining, not only Nordic or Europe. Looks really great. So just continue a couple of seconds more there, and we will have more in the picture. Now you see the picture getting even more countries in, and really fantastic. Maybe 10 more seconds. Don't worry if you miss some part of it. We will have the participation list. But now you see how the Mentimeter functions. So 5 last seconds. And I think we are done. And we see that the Finland dominates, but not too much. And we are so proud of having also so many from Canada, the host country of WCEF. So welcome all here. And now I think we take the introduction question number 2. And It will be shown on the screen soon. And here we go. The question number 2, with the same code, same Mentimeter. Now you should have the question, which type of organization do you represent? Just pick up the alternative and submit your responses. Again, the pie chart takes nicely form, and we all can see that it is balanced with the triple helix. It's with businesses, it's with research and public sector. So nice to see that we have such a balance. It describes also the industrial circular economy community quite well, what we are seeing at the moment, and also international organizations, NGO, and other. Maybe 20 seconds, and then we are done with the second question. And I realize that you can use it easily, so we can use the Mentimeter. That works nice. And then I think you can leave the Mentimeter website open. We will need it one more time during the session. But now we move on to the panel questions, and let's see when we get back to, here we go, the panel discussion. And we already heard some words from Nani and Tuomas, but Klaus, would you like to say where do you come from and what is UNIDO?
UNIDO is the Industrial Development Organization of the United Nations, headquartered in Vienna, and with a very broad international memberships. And of course, what we do, as many development agencies, we serve the more developing parts of the world with good practices and sustainable development approaches, so that we can all in a way fulfill or work towards the SDGs.
Thank you, Klaus. And then we move on to Canada, to Timo. So Timo, could you also say some words, where do you come from and which city are you now talking from?
Good morning. I am in Vancouver on the west coast of Canada, and so I can hardly say I represent all of Canada. That's one challenge we have as a country of no shortage of geography. But I represent NISP Canada. That's the NISP program, National Industrial Symbiosis Program, is actually a resource matching waste to resource program created by International Synergies Limited out of the UK, and they've used that model in around 40 different countries. And we were pleased to pilot that in Canada here in Metro Vancouver and also in Greater Edmonton, the province next to us in Alberta, and had some great successes. I wish I had more time to talk about, but we focused on what actually happens inside eco-industrial parks, that is industrial symbiosis, getting these material and energy linkages created for mutual business benefit. And I could go on, but maybe I'll leave it as a short introduction for now.
Thank you so much, Timo. And then we move on to Sweden and Murat Mirata. Tell us with some words who you are and what is Linköping University doing with this subject.
Hello, thank you, Jukka. Yeah, Murat Mirata. I'm a senior researcher and lecturer, part of a small unit called Industrial and Urban Symbiosis in Linköping University. Industrial and urban symbiosis can be recognized as cross-sectoral resource collaborations and innovation processes. That is the underlying foundation of the eco-industrial parks. In our unit, we have been working with co-creation and diffusion of knowledge that intends to scale up industrial and urban symbiosis practices. And we have been very privileged to actually having uncovered about 40 operational contexts with operational industrial symbiosis practices. We have also actively engaged with more than 15 regions and helped them to develop local, regional, institutional capacity to more actively scale up industrial and urban symbiosis. And our key focus is on development determinants, performance outcomes, as well as facilitation techniques and tools. One small thing that is also worth mentioning that I and my colleagues are also parts of two teams. One of them is initiated and leading the efforts of setting up a Swedish network of industry and urban symbiosis, and the other one, together with you and others, is engaged with replicating the same at the Nordic level.
Thank you, Murat, so much, and I can only tell that Murat has also contributed to illustration of side streams in Kemi-Tornio region, so the Nordic cooperation is already going on there. But back to Timo, you were also writing to our policy brief of what is happening in Canada, and now you hear what is happening in Europe. So how would you describe how wide is this eco-industrial park concept adopted in Canada?
Not nearly to the extent that it's been adopted in Finland, and that's not to say that a lot of circular economy activity isn't happening in Canada. There are a handful of eco-industrial parks in Canada that have been studied to a great extent. Probably Burnside in Nova Scotia is the most well-known from an academic perspective, but there are other projects underway for various reasons. There's a big business park near Toronto's International Airport, and they have a project, Pearson Project Green, where the local businesses get together and use online platforms to trade resources and create synergies. But that is a retrofit, and it's reputed to be the biggest retrofit of an industrial park in North America, and they've had some successes. There's a eco-industrial park just outside of Fort McMurray, and that's gets some notoriety as the center of the oil sands in Canada. Tar sands, we don't like them, oil sands if you do, I suppose. And they created a new eco-industrial park there, and that was sold out quite quickly, and that focused more on green buildings and green design versus, say, having an anchor tenant like the well-known project in Kalundborg, Denmark. So it's a lot of heterogeneity, if I can use that term, a lot of variety of different types of business in Canada. And hopefully coming out of this conference and the fact that Canada is moving more towards a circular economy, we can emulate more of what's being done in Finland and use eco-industrial parks and industrial symbiosis to help meet Canada's overall climate and other environmental goals, as well as growing a strong economy.
This is called World Circular Economy Forum to transfer experiences across the globe. Thank you. And now we move back to the Helsinki studio, and the question to Tuomas. You already told about the cooperation between Finnish eco-innovation parks. Could you maybe say something more? What is so special here? Why are we so active in Finland with this cooperation?
Of course, everything started from the scratch, and this is totally new concept. But I'm very pleased about the trust what is inside this network and how it works. And there's a lot of great enthusiasm and great spirit. There is a real win-win situation inside the network. And of course, we still have things to do and how we will organize it, but I think that this will be a great thing what will happen.
Thank you, Tuomas. And now I think we have some specific question on this measurement of eco-industrial parks, measurement of performance of eco-industrial parks. And we are happy to have one of the best experts globally here today, Klaus, who you have been working with UNIDO eco-industrial parks quite a long time. And maybe you could elaborate a bit about the UNIDO monitoring mechanisms, and would that work? I could assist with a slide.
Sure, yes. Absolutely. What we've been working with some of the colleague organizations, in this case the World Bank Group and the German development agency GIZ, is to try to put together in this discourse about industrial parks and eco-industrial parks. What does it really mean that there is an eco-industrial parks? And what we have then developed is an international framework for eco-industrial parks. And in this framework, we have a number of categories, 4 categories, looking at the performance of park management, of the environmental performance of the park, the social performance of the park, as well as the economic performance of the park. And these categories are then further divided in some topics, just for the easier assessment of the situation. But altogether, there are 51 benchmarks in this framework. And I can show you perhaps on the next slide, if you have it there, a little bit the type of results that we are getting. So we've gone to 50 parks in 8 countries, and then done the assessment against this international framework and its 51 indicators. And you would see up on the slide, you would see the countries. It would be Colombia, Egypt, Indonesia, Nigeria, Peru, South Africa, Ukraine, and Vietnam. And on the left-hand side, you would have the big categories: the park management, environment, social, and then the economic category. And looking at the countries, of course, there is a variation between the countries in general. But if you look at the performance as defined by our criteria, you would see from there that the economic benchmarks, which relates to SME engagement, local being part of the local economy, and so on, this is fairly well. The results are fairly encouraging there. It's also maybe a little bit more patchy, but on park management, on the social performance, they are come to next in adhering to these indicators. Maybe the worst adherence is on environment and these topics which are related to the environmental performance. And there, if you just which I did not mention, that the greener the better, right? The redder the worse. So if you look at the performance on, say, energy indicators, here is probably something which is not as good. You will find how these indicators are defined in the international framework in the document. But of course, for us working on these topics, we then, by looking at the performance, we can look at, where should we put our emphasis in order to bring the parks in a sort of a balanced way towards EIP performance. And then just to remember that each park is unique, as we have mentioned several times already, and many of the interventions needs then to be also tailor-made for the specific situation.
Thank you, Klaus. And if you think you missed some details, don't worry. You have access to the information also after. And please check the chat. I'm sure there will be links to the chat discussion also. And now we move into the next question, which is the main challenges. And what are the main challenges in measuring the industrial circular economy? And we don't go through all, but I ask you to pick one. And I think we start with Nani. What is the pick for you? What is so difficult in this measuring?
Yeah, thank you, Jukka. I think one of the challenges are that the areas are different. And there might be different kind of companies, and of course there are many kind of individuals. So some of the indicators should be quality-based. So like how much do we know? Have we already found our role in this transition towards carbon neutral circular economy? So what is the level of know-how and understanding? If you educate people who are working in this eco-industrial park, how much do they know already? And do they have actions in their everyday work towards circular economy? So that's the one thing. And then I think that one challenge is that we don't want to give any extra work to anyone. So we should use that kind of reporting system that we already have. Is it annual economy report or environmental permit or whatever? But it should be there, and then we can pick good indicators from there. And then I think that like Klaus told us about they are this model, I think it's really good to use these kind of tested models and then pick from there the good parts and then see what is working in my country, in my eco-industrial park.
Thank you, Nani. And we move back to Timo. So what would be your pick? What is so difficult here?
I agree with everything Nani says. And building on that, we have what we often call the owner versus renter dichotomy. You have an owner of a big eco-industrial park, and you have a philosophy of being green and addressing climate change and so on, but you can't always influence the people, the businesses that are in your eco-industrial park. What is their perspective? Are they climate change deniers? Do they have a short-term focus? Are they worried about going out of business, so their focus is not so much on environment, but just getting as much product out the door as quickly as possible and cheaply as possible? So you've sometimes have a challenge in getting alignment and making sure everybody's on the same page in terms of measuring and succeeding. Hope that's clear.
And we continue at a distance and we move to Murat there. And Murat, what would be your pick to this question?
I think I will land on a conclusion very similar to Timo's, but before that I have to mention a couple of other things. That properly capturing performance and success requires assessments on multiple dimensions, each have their own complexities. On top of that, there's often the need to make comparisons, sometimes across space, but certainly across time and imagination between different scenarios. And this requires consensus on indicators and assessment methods, which we lack today. There is work ongoing to correct this, but it's not concluded yet. And a related question that has also been mentioned, that this also requires a vast amount of quantitative and qualitative data information that needs to be reliable and representative. And as of now, that is not readily available. So I am a very strong believer of the say, when there's a will, there's a way. And I think my pick of the single biggest challenge would be to create that will from the right stakeholders to actually assist these kind of assessments and communicate the results.
Thank you, Murat. And I think we move on to the next question. Everybody can say from the panel now their pick. The question is, please pick one good practice in measuring eco-industrial parks. And this time we start with Thomas. What would be your pick?
I think that it might sound a little bit naive or easy, but you have to know your playground, and you have to know what kind of side stream you have on your park, and homemates must be done in a way. And we have mapped our side streams and amount of these, and there is a table that we will update frequently and keep it updated.
Thank you, Thomas. And we move on to Nani. What would be your pick here?
I'm not sure if it's there already or should it be there, because I think that we need key performance indicator that we all know what to do when we create sustainable future and when we build eco-industrial park. What is my part? Is it in my actions, in my everyday life, in my work? And then somebody is following that I'm really doing these actions, and then we create more actions. I think it's also individual's role. It's important to measure.
Thank you, Nani. And back to Murat here. What would be your good practice? You can even take something from our Nordic world, but feel free.
There are a lot of good practices in the Nordic countries and elsewhere. Like our friends in Kalundborg have a very pragmatic approach that they put some indicators on 3 dimensions. But actually the one that I would like to pick is a study that a group of researchers conducted on an industrial cluster in Sweden, an industrial chemical cluster which is very heavily focused on using primary fossil resources. And what they did is they compared their performance along 2 different scenarios. In one of them, they kept the core activities pretty much unchanged and increased the energy integration between the actors, which was already a bit in place. And in the second one, they took the big extra mile and they said, hold on a second, what if we do a more radical change? And what if we replace some of their core input feedstock with bio-based feedstock? And their findings were very important because the more radical change, the bio-based change route proved to provide 10 times more CO2 reduction. So, I mean, factor 10 improvement over the existing thing. But of course, there was also some downsides to that. It implied higher investments. It also meant that the majority of the gains were outside the park boundaries and was realized elsewhere. And of course, for the industry to get credit for that is complex. But it also sends a very important message to policymakers and other actors who can change the rules of the game. Because as some of the other speakers said, when we do this kind of work, we need to question some of the structures that is in place, and we need to first do the right things, switch away from fossil primary resources, increase the share of bio-based secondary resources, and then do things right by seeking and developing new connections that can actually enhance the performance of this more sustainable industries.
Timo, would you like to add something here, your good practice from Canada or from elsewhere?
I think we've seen that in all the good practices is that people are taking what we call a triple bottom line approach to analysis. It's not just looking at environment in isolation. People need work, they want good work. So how can we get good employment in green workspaces, and how can we create a work environment with less emissions that people actually want to go to and enjoy? So yeah, to continue to use that triple bottom line multi-metric approach.
I know we have questions coming from the floor too, but before that we give the last word to this question to Klaus. Would you have good practice from your experience also in measuring? Where does it work and which instrument?
Well, yes, not surprisingly, I would probably pick the international framework and the indicators that we have developed there as a very good practice. There is possibilities of looking at those criteria because these are to be applied globally. So if you would like to look at some of more stringent requirements, perhaps regionally you could look at those things. I think for our side, it's important that it has the three dimensions of park performance, park management performance, environment performance, and social performance. These are really, I mean, this is a part of the eco-industrial park. It's not only about necessarily environment. There are other dimensions there as well. That is important. Maybe and to little bit support this approach, we have developed an assessment tool for parks at UNIDO. And I think that the strong part of that is that it's not only a sort of taking in the benchmarks, but it also creates a discussions about, and we can sort of tease out and find those EIP opportunities in that discussion when we are doing the assessment. This tool, together with the other EIP tools that we have developed in order for industrial parks to transform into eco-industrial parks, are also available there at the UNIDO site. I hope the colleagues can give you the address for that.
Thank you, Klaus. And now we have questions from the chat coming. And from the chat, we have picked up some questions by Sanna. Sanna Tönin now introducing the first question. Sanna, please.
Thank you, Jukka, and thank you for everyone in the chat. You have been quite lively discussions there, so thank you very much. And first question to the panelists is, how do EEPs collaborate beyond national borders? What is the value you find in such collaboration, or is there any value?
Thank you, Sanna. And I take the moderator pick first to Murat, and now you can take the Nordic. What have we learned and what is the value of the Nordic cooperation? Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, also Iceland. What can we do better together beyond national borders?
Well, I mean, a lot of things. I think in a nutshell, one can say that the networking is the single most useful source of inspiration and knowledge. Also not for the existing AIPs, but also those who want to be. So that is critical. But I think it was said earlier, together we are stronger. I think we face common challenges and we are able to address them much more effectively and much more efficiently, create better the objectives that we are trying to move towards, which of course also requires bringing about certain changes in the policy ecosystem or the finance ecosystem or the technical regime or the business models or social interactions. And despite the fact that we are in very early stages of networking, I think we have already started to make a lot of progress in learning from each other, jointly forming a louder and more impactful voice. As said, together we are stronger and we are growing stronger through our networking efforts.
Thank you, Murat. Who would like to add? Nani, please.
Yeah, I can add. Thank you, Murat. I want to continue from there because like Tuomas said before, we are the voice of industry. Because in individuals' everyday life, process and mining industry, it's actually quite far away. How many of you, well, you maybe have been in mines or process industrial sites, but quite many of us have never visited those sites. And when we create, I have to say, excellent circular economy solutions in these industrial areas, it's much more easier to tell about these solutions when we are more together. And of course, sharing all of the results, experiences, challenges together. It's also, we are stronger than when we have great minds together. And that's why we also have this session and invite worldwide people to join this network.
Thank you, Nani, and Klaus to conclude this round.
Yeah, just I would say that the most important is to collect those cases, collect the results, the approach, and disseminate those. Because there are, even though every situation is unique, every park is unique, there are bits and pieces that you can learn from each other, but you need to hear from them. You need to hear what did they do in that industry, in that park, in that company. And when you hear it, that might not be exactly the same situation as you have in your park, but the sort of clock starts to ring in your head and say, yeah, I know now what to do, right?
Thanks for sharing. And we seem to get a lot of questions, but we have time for 2 more questions from the audience to go through. Maybe Sanna, question number 2.
Yes, this is my favorite area. How the eco-industrial parks and universities or R&D institutions can or should collaborate? Do you have any good practices to share with us?
Who would like to start? Nani is first.
Yeah, may I say before Murat, maybe you want to continue now
Ladies
this way.
First.
Like I said before, the world is not ready yet, and the eco-industrial parks are not ready yet, and industrial circular economy, we need research and development work, and it's a long way work. Some of the business models are used today. The creation of those started like more than 10 years ago, and it takes time to make research, piloting, developing, and so on. And now it's business. So we really need to have close collaboration between companies, private sector, public sector, and of course, research sector.
Thank you, Nani. Did you have a comment, Murat, or did Nani ask for comment? Please.
Well, I think I'm a bit biased in here representing the knowledge sector, but I would like to echo that it is very, very important. And the scale and scope and the importance of collaboration also changes. We need to acknowledge that we label things in industrial symbiosis generically, but they differ greatly in their nature. Some of the things are pretty standard and maybe they just need to be injected into an area. A new actor's installation makes a difference, and of course the research can play a difference. But the more interesting developments, the co-creation, co-collaboration, is I think has the main potential to bring out the main changes that we would like to see. And there, of course, the collaboration between research and practice is tremendously important. And if we come to the core topic of here, assessing the performance, of course we have a lot to contribute to each other, but we also serve a bit as the gatekeeper, so to say, because sometimes there's a tendency to get carried away in our own world. So I think this collaboration also keeps us focused and keep eye out on the ball to deliver useful results.
And now the last question for this session from the chat. And Sanna, please.
Yes, let's go innovative. What would be the form of the next generation eco-industrial park? What is the main difference in the procedures as compared to parks in these days?
Thank you, Sanna. Eco-Innovation Park 2.0. Some of us think we don't have 1.0, but now we go to the next stage. So, brief comments, reactions. Who would like to start? Thomas.
Maybe the next eco-industrial park is without any borders. I think that there was this mention that can there be a Scandinavian eco-industrial park, for example. So maybe this is the next step. You will never know, but let's see how it goes.
Who would like to add 2.0? Klaus?
2.0 includes EIP sustainability checking before you even start a park. It goes through the sustainability criteria at master planning, which is done regularly, and through this plan the companies are setting up their operations and the framework of that activity.
Thank you. And Nani,
Maybe
please.
I can continue from here, because we need to rethink like everything we are doing at the moment. So when we are targeting systemic change, so then we have to look at the system at the moment and then rethink everything and make new decisions before we do anything. So the planning phase is the most important.
And back to Timo. What would be your idea here? Where are we heading and where should we head with 2.0?
The industry is so varied, and I don't think it's not like jumping to the next level in an instant. You're going to have a lot of incremental positive change, more events like this, more information exchange, and the next generation will suddenly say, oh, we're at ecosystem or industrial park 2.0, and then they'll have arrived there without even aiming for it. There's lots of positive change happening. More networks will be created through events like this, more ideas exchanged. So we'll incrementally move towards the next level. Exactly what that will look like, well, I don't have the greatest crystal ball, but I can only see positives coming out of events like this that will move us towards something greener and better.
Timo, and the panel is not over yet because we want to invite you all to this Mentimeter session number 2, which is coming soon. But so far, I think we have learned a lot, and this is what it's all about with World Circular Economy Forum, to change knowledge, to change experiences and learning from each other. And it seems to work across the globe, even during these COVID times. But now we will check how the Menti instrument would work in getting even more flesh to our thoughts here. And we open up for the Mentimeter questions 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we are done with the Mentimeter. So please help us with the final 4 questions. And the question number 4 is in now. You see it on the screen. Why do you think it's important to measure the performance of eco-industrial parks? And this time it's free text, but it's like SMS, just spontaneously your first ideas, either through the mobile or through PC. You see the first comments coming, and just keep sending them, and then we collect them, and we jointly have a nice catalogue of this session for all of us. You are really doing great, and you are fast typers, I must say, at least some of you. And what do you think, Sanna? Is there already some pick you would like to take from the first comments?
Well, of course, to follow the change and development, I think that's one key points, of course. If we don't measure, as it has been mentioned already a couple of times during this session, I think that's really key factor.
Thank you, Sanna. And I also pick up this storytelling. Somebody thinks that measurement and indicators are nothing else but storytelling, but I think it's a vice versa. We should show people that this is part of the story. It's a package. We are talking about measuring, but soon we end up talking in everything in industrial circular economy. And I think this is something, or would you like to comment, Nani, on that?
Yeah, I think it's really important to give inspiring examples, and I think storytelling it's great indicator that we tell what does it mean to have circular economy in industrial level and in eco-industrial parks.
Thank you, and Thomas, you had also a comment.
Yeah, I fully agree with Nani that these success stories are needed to get this through fully. I fully agree. That's a really good pick up from this list.
And also I read setting the ambition level. I think this is something we are not doing, but we are doing with targets. And just feel free to comment all the other panelists too. But I like many of the comments here already, so we are getting a nice library of comments here. We still have time for maybe 1 minute, so keep sending us the final comments for this question. And if you think 5 minutes from here that you had the perfect answer, just put it to the chat and we pick it up from there. So the last 20 seconds now, and this is fantastic library coming out. So thank you for all of you for co-creating this. And now we have 5 last seconds for this one, and we start moving on to the Mentimeter question number 4 in our series. And it comes soon on the screen. And this is the question that panelists already tackled a bit, but we now collect all the expertise around the world. What is difficult in this measuring industrial circular economy? Same procedure, same Menti, same code, just start sending the replies. You can be brief or you can use your SMS length, but just send us feedback. This time it's not that easy. We see that it can't be so. It can't be easy. We know it has some difficulties.
Yeah.
And now we start getting the replies there. Nice. The first one already is crucial. Can we really rely on this information, and who sets the target and standards?
And I think the confidence is a key point. I mean, this is when we work with, we come from outside to the parks, and some of this is somewhat sensitive business information, and that everybody can trust each other, and they know that it will not be used to something else. It's an important point.
Yeah.
I think there is this to cover all aspects of circular economy in a holistic way, similarly to sustainability assessment, because it's a wide variety of different kind of actions, how to measure all of those.
Yeah.
Yes, I can also share from my experience from Kalundborg, Denmark, which is quite a classic case in Europe. They say that we don't trust everybody to give the information. That is also one of the comments coming here. So can people really trust that we use it in a proper way?
Yeah.
Anything from Murat, Timo to these comments? I hope you can see them also. Difficulties. Can you reflect on some of these or one of these? Timo, please.
Yeah, sure. The cost, the things time consuming, it's data is not always cheap to collect and analyze. You have to have people committed to do that, and multi-year data collection too. And who do you trust to collect that data? Who's going to keep it, archive it, revisit it? Yeah, so data management can be expensive and time consuming, but as I've often said, if you don't measure you can't manage. So you definitely have to have a budget item for that kind of data analysis if you're going to manage a good eco-industrial park effectively.
Much, Timo, and very good comments keep coming, but the time flies, so we have the last minute going on for this difficult question, but excellent replies so far. So just keep sending your final comments, and you will have them all collected after the conference, don't worry, so it will be available to us all. And the last comments now, 10 seconds, and then we move into the question number 5. So thank you so much, excellent response for this difficult question on difficulties. And we move on to the question number 5, and this time it's easier for you. So yes, no, or maybe. Would you like to continue in co-creation of this industrial circular economy with the focus on measuring it and just keep replying, and you already started, I can see.
Maybe if I can add here,
if
you are worrying about your working time, we are not sending you like list to-dos, what is your role here, but we are just happy to continue the discussion with you and share the results with you. And this is really important work for us, that you give your ideas and your comments now and afterwards, because we are going to continue, because we see that there is a challenge how to measure circular economy in eco-industrial parks, and we are going to find the solution or first solution there, and we are happy to discuss with you more also in the future about this. So no to-do lists to you if you say yes, but we are just going to give you feedback of this session and results and so on.
Exactly. And 1 more minute for this question before we go to the question number 6. Well, I can already maybe draw conclusion that Donald Duck is not that favored in this audience at the moment, which is fine for us, and we are happy for that there is an interest to this theme and to continue, and a joint shared interest to learn more. And now 10 last seconds, and then we are done with this question. Thank you. And now comes the last Mentimeter question for this session, and this is your reflection, your thought that is highest on your mind. Please pick up 1 thought you learned from this session, just to get a global view. How does this session sound, and what have we learned, not only collectively but also individually? I'm happy for the number 2 quote there, so it seems to live.
They can hear you.
They can hear me. Sanna, what would you pick?
I would pick collaboration, of course, and I think that if this was a word cloud, perhaps the collaboration would be in the middle, quite huge.
Klaus, there are coming UNIDO questions. Are they free? Are they accessible? Or how does it work if somebody is interested?
Yes, the toolbox is there on hub.unido.org/eco-industrial parks. You can have a look at those, and I see that there is an interest about the 51 indicators and other things. I mean, this is something that we have written down, but we also have online sessions on this. So that's maybe something that we can promote in the network later.
Also, I pick up, don't wait, act now. I think if you read our policy briefs that are out, there is also, when is the right time to start measuring? It's today, so that you can then refine do it again, but no need to wait until tomorrow or after 3 years. And also the baseline is so important that you have something to compare. You have to have the today's situation in order to say what happens after 5 years. Any final thoughts? Would you like to pick up yet another one?
I just was wondering that if you are interested to see the results of these Menti questions, you can get the answers after this last question. Just add your email to the last page, which will come after this one. So you can get the results later also.
Thank you, Sanna. And as said, we will also collect the session summary to you. But now I think we are quite close to concluding the panel and interactive part. And I would say that I'm quite happy with the results so far. We have co-created a lot during this short time with the time differences. And I think we thank the panelists Timo, Murat and Klaus, and we thank Sanna for co-moderating, and we go to final conclusion. And this is the background information for you. All the information from us is available, and you will get this, and this is if you want to immediately pick some information or contact, it will go nicely from this list. But now I think we will concentrate on concluding remarks together with Nani and Tuomas. And we thought that we could have two parts there. So what did we learn collectively? And you have seen all the history, Nani. So what did you think? Where are we today? And what is the importance of this session for this process?
I think the most important part of this session was that we really worked together, because it was an idea for us when we started to plan this session. And we think that we don't want to only give answers or tell the results what we have been doing here since like 2016, but we want to challenge ourselves and you guys there, and we wanted to work together here in this session. And it was amazing, because when I saw the text is coming there, and you were really thinking at the same time where we were thinking here, so we worked together. So it's amazing to see how involved you were in this session. So thank you so much for that, because these results are really, really good for us when we continue this work here. Thank you.
Thank you, Nani. And Tuomas, I think many of us are interested. How does this process continue? So would you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really must say, and thanks for the creative and innovation spirit that we had in this session, and for sure we will continue this work. We will publish policy brief number 2 by end of this year, and hopefully you will read it through and give your comments to this also. And hopefully we can have that kind of session year 2022 also. So yeah, that's the place where we will continue the work. And of course the material will be distributed to you after this meeting. So stay tuned, I must say, more or less.
Yes, thank you, Tuomas, and we respect the GDPR instructions so that they will be followed, but you will get this information and access to the materials. We have almost used our time, but I would like to conclude with some words here. So first of all, I would like to express my thanks to the Sitra organization. Fantastic work again, also with this session. Also for the technical support group, great work from your side. And also a great thanks to all of you joining from distance. I repeat myself, but I know you are having only your morning coffee somewhere, and we are enjoying the nice afternoon. Some of you are maybe coming closer to midnight. So this is the digital tool that we will use more and more, and I think this has been a good COVID time session in these conditions. And I think it has been a pleasure to guide this session together with Sanna, and I think we have enjoyed. And Thomas already told about the follow-up, but I pick up one comment there. Hard work is still there to do. So these are nice time celebrations, but the hard work happens not only tomorrow, but also starting from today. How do we measure our eco-innovation parks? How do we build up our eco-innovation parks and plan measuring that if we don't have it already? And how do we come into this eco-innovation park world? And I think on behalf of the organizing team, we wish all of you a very nice morning, a very nice day, very nice afternoon, which we will enjoy, or a very nice night. But at this moment, I declare this session closed, and I just say goodbye. Thank you for your attention.
Kiitos paljon. Näkemiin.